wonderful. Is the tape on now? Great. Maybe just to begin with, it would be lovely just if people just said their names. You don't have to say, everybody knows who you are anyway, but just say your names just in case somebody doesn't know.
And face the camera to say your name.
Face the camera. Right.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Greenberg.
Good morning, and I'm Ray Cook.
And I'm Lynn Weber.
I'm Ann Hutchinson Guest.
Charlotte Weil and May.
And behind the camera, coming over now, on October 13th.
I'm May Chen Lu.
Is it the 13th or the 14th today?
13, yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Oh, we're so excited, Ann, to have you with us. It seems like it's been a long time, and we don't get to see you very often.
I don't get to New York.
Yeah.
It's not so easy anymore.
Well, this is very special for us, so thank you so much for. I know you must be exhausted with all your travels and your NDEO and.
Well, I think it's wonderful that we've gathered together.
Yes, absolutely. So before we go forward, we need to make an agenda, and I sent a note to people, but I just was wondering anyway, to begin with, if you all have a preference of something you wanted, some theoretical issue, or maybe we should begin, and we would love to hear anything at the stage of, you know, your travels and stuff that you would like to share with us, or any theory issues or non-theory issues, you know, anything that you would like to.
I really didn't excuse me, come prepared with anything in mind. So
Okay, so you're open to any.
I'm open.
You're open to letting things evolve. And anybody else have anything in particular you'd like to talk about? Some theory stuff? Or? Okay. Well, I have, as always.
Yes, ma'am.
I have some issues, and maybe I'll tell you what the issues are that I thought of talking about, and it could be that as I list them, something will come to your minds, and then we'll prioritize or figure out what our agenda is. Okay, so here are some things that I'm excited, would love to pick people's brains about, and that is one is the idea of how do we indicate inner focus, and I have a little thing that I prepared based on a discussion that May and I had a long time ago. But the idea of, you're looking at something, but it's not out there. It's in your mind's eye, so to speak. That's one thing. Let me just write that. By the way, before we go any further, when you write something, what we're going to do is we're going to write, and then we're going to put anything we write up there for people to see. But make sure we have things that you write on your paper bags, because this bleeds through.
It's a Sharpie, and there are Sharpies here.
Right,
so you can,
just take one,
and that's very visible, so that when we put it up, everybody can see it. Whereas if you write in pencil or pen, it isn't.
So if you write, put it on top, and just one piece of paper, because otherwise, and then write on your paper.
Would you like it?
Thank you.
Just one sheet at a time, because otherwise it'll bleed through to the next step. Okay, so we have focus, inner, and then and a second idea I had was to talk about, now this inner, I'm going to go backwards a minute. Inner focus would pertain to both Lava notation and to motif notation. I believe that there's a need in both scripts for that idea. The second thing I'm interested in is I have a proposal, but for an indication for swinging, and which is something I found a need for in motif notation, particularly. And a third thing that I was interested in, really would love to know, is I have never found anything about the derivation of the relationship bows, except for one item that you wrote about it. And I would love to hear from Anne how those different, where did they evolve from, what's the derivation, all right? Relationship bows. Okay. A fourth thing that I thought about, and I don't know, remember during our conversation when we were doing the teacher thing, and there was something that everybody kept getting confused about with regard to, if you do this on a floor plan, am I right? It's something about where you put this, and people kept saying, let's ask Ann.
Oh, the starting point instead of from the pin?
I don't know, it was something to do with
Well,
where.
Mira is very particular in autography on how it is drawn.
Yeah.
I know that I,
It was from the
Have
head
been
of
corrected.
attack of
yes, this, right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put this, you all kept,
No, I think the point is where actually, in terms
Where's
of
the
pin,
person?
where's the person in the pin? So it's whether it's here, it's here.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was something else that came
Hold
up.
up to the camera.
Wait a minute, what is this one here?
Where's the person, when you draw a pin on a floor plan, where exactly is the person? Is it exactly at the center of the
Oh,
circle,
this-
or is it at the
The
meeting
where
point?
pin and the tick mark attach.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's another item, and as I say, ask Ann. Let's call her up. Hours of discussion about that. And then another thing that has come up and passed, and there was a big discussion about it in the LMA community, and I was very interested in, and that is the timing, that when you write an initiation bow, when you write initiation bow,
Oh wait.
how long should the bow be? Should it just be short because it happens at the beginning of the movement?
And
It
then
should
it's
be long, or it should be long to cover the different
Okay.
things. And the last item, which is more, not exactly a theoretical thing, but maybe, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot personally about how do we teach writing. So, to students, people, when, you're giving a dictation. So I would love, what I thought would be so interesting, because we have these expert notators, to talk for lava notation. Or, lava notation. What your individual processes when you write. Because a long time ago, I remember Sandra saying, she always starts with writing supports, and it must be that's the only way to write, because if you don't write that way, there's something, you won't come out in the right place. And I just would be curious, do people start with mapping out timing? Is it, whatever, do you write horizontally a big chunk and then go to the next? What is your process? Is it different? I just would be fascinated to hear that. And I think that, knowing that might inform how we think more clearly and more objectively about how to teach writing. So that was those are the 6 things. Now, do any of those things strike your fancy? Should we try to do them all? Yes.
The last one actually.
The writing?
The writing, it's very interesting to hear, experienced notator, how
Should we
they.
start with that then?
Okay, let's begin with that. I think it would be good, what we should do is decide, we can either decide which things we want to talk about and then divvy up the time, or we can start when we finish with one,
Absolutely.
go to another, and maybe we'll spend the whole time talking about the writing, we don't know. Okay, so, fabulous, so that
This is for teaching writing, or how do we write?
how, my thought was, if you could, if you're gonna be sitting down to notate yourself,
Okay.
you're gonna notate. And do you consciously decide, oh, you know, or unconsciously, do you write the supports first, the way Sandra said? Do you write, as I say, occurred to me, do you say, oh, I gotta, for this chunk, I'm gonna do, for the first measure or two, do you write horizontally first and get as much information? And then go to the next thing? Do you map out the floor? I mean, what is it? Do you map out, do you watch everything? And what is your process as a writer?
Great.
Oh, I always, excuse me, I always start with the supports because I need a visual image in my mind of where people are going, and then I add anything that's easy and quick to write, like flexing, turning, a stage facing pin or something. And then to the side of that, I quickly draw a semicircle going this way or anything like that, or just two pins, the relationship of two dancers. But all the things you can get down without having to analyze immediately.
When you write your supports, do you begin immediately to write them the right length because of
As close as I can. I don't put timing in until later. I put where the main beat is, perhaps, or I put a little bow to say triplet or something like that. But I don't worry about exact timing.
So you might just say low, high, high, side, side with it forward without thinking that this is, maybe generally say this.
No, just a
That's a
general
3/4.
indication.
Okay.
Slow, fast, twice as fast, something like that.
Okay. And do you write would you write a whole long
No, because you can't.
period of time
You
for the
can't.
feet?
You can't because you're looking at the dancers or looking at the page. So
Uh-huh.
it's very difficult to get a long stretch of anything.
Right.
So usually there's blocks where you don't have anything. And so next time through, you don't worry about what you wrote, you start looking at blocks, what's missing, and begin to put that in. And a lot of the times when you go home, there's enough information there for you to recall what you saw.
Okay.
Maybe not a lot of detail, but you can get an image of what was being done and start to feel it even more at home.
Do you have a sense that you're feeling it in you're like I know you
Yes.
can't stand
No,
up and
no,
dance,
yeah,
but do
I
you
do.
say,
I
do you
feel
kind
it.
of
Yes. No, I feel it in my body all the time.
while you're writing? It's not in
Yeah.
your head, it's
No,
in
it's
your
in my
body.
most of the time it's in my body.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, if it's a structured score, in other words, lava notation, I would agree with Ray. I would go for the supports first. And I just draw a center line,
So,
and anything outside is the arms. If it's the body, I put a line, and then to indicate the outer staff line. Excuse me. And I don't go for time, just sequence of events. Get it done, and if you know you've missed a little section, leave a blank. Go on to the next. And then, as Ray said, a lot of it you will remember for when you begin to tidy up your notes. You can fill in quite a lot of detail. And occasionally I have found, if it was a slightly tricky ballet step and I wasn't quite seeing what was happening, I'd get up and learn it physically. And then I'd know I'd be able to write it. And there's always the difficulty of facing the dancers. Usually you need to be in the front of the studio because the choreographer is there and you want to hear what they're saying. The piano is usually there. But it would be better to be in back.
I always
get your rights and
prefer to be in the
I
back.
always sit at the back. Always. I never sit down front, never.